Hello everyone. Back again with film recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the horror mystery films from 2017, titled Veronica. Before we get to the storyline, I'd like to wish everyone a happy and great day. Without further ado, let's get straight to the storyline. The movie opens in Madrid in 1991, with emergency services responding to a call from a young girl. Her desperate voice says, "He is inside," although she cannot explain what is happening. A patrol car rushes to her apartment, and upon their arrival, they find the house wrecked. They discover a tumbled crucifix, and follow a trail of blood, where they hear a terrifying noise from inside a room. As the cops enter the room, they are confronted with a horrifying scene, that we don't know what it is. The scene then shifts to a flashback from 3 days earlier, where we see a 15-year-old girl named Veronica waking up in the morning. She goes to wake up her siblings, twins Irene and Lucia, and her little brother, Antonito. It turns out that their father recently passed away, and their mother has to work hard to support the family. Due to this, Veronica has the responsibility of caring for her siblings and handling the household chores. All the siblings have breakfast, and get ready for school. Before leaving, Veronica enters her mother's room, and steals a picture of her late father. It is evident that she misses him dearly. Following this, the siblings leave their house, and we soon learn they attend a Catholic school. Later, while Veronica is in class, her best friend, Rosa, sends her a ball of paper asking her about something, and both girls seem excited. Meanwhile, the teacher is giving a brief session about eclipses. She explains how some ancient cultures used eclipses to stage human sacrifices, and summon dark spirits. After the class is over, the teacher and students head out to the rooftop to witness the solar eclipse. On the other hand, Veronica meets up with Rosa, who says that she has invited another girl named Diana. Veronica is upset that she involved someone else without asking her first, but Rosa explains that Diana recently lost her boyfriend in a motorcycle accident, and she wants to talk to him. The three girls secretly head to the school basement. At this moment, we find out that they are planning to conduct a seance using an Ouija board, because Veronica wants to talk to her late father. Rosa mentions that they need a personal item from the person they want to contact, so Veronica has brought a picture of her father, but Diana hasn't brought her late boyfriend's stuff. The girls then lay out the Ouija board and place their fingers on a glass. They close their eyes, and ask if there's someone present with them. And then all of a sudden,
Yo no he sido, lo juro.
The glass moves, indicating that a spirit is nearby. The girls inquire about the identity of the spirit, and if it wishes to communicate. They then specifically ask if the spirit is Veronica's father, but the glass just moves wildly. The girls once again ask the same question, and the spirit responds by moving the glass towards the sun symbol on the board. During this, Rosa and Diana have to remove their fingers because they begin to burn, but Veronica keeps on holding the glass. It begins to move, and her friends get scared and ask what's happening. During this, the moon starts to get in between the sun, and the glass breaks. Veronica has her index finger bleed at the sun symbol, and the candles also fall, prompting the girls to quickly put out the flames. Moments later, when Diana and Rosa turn on the flashlight, they see that the board is broken, and Veronica is on the ground, unconscious. Diana rushes off to find help, while Rosa notices that Veronica's lips are moving. Rosa is terrified when Veronica says something uncontrollably. Just then, Veronica sits up and screams. In the next scene, she wakes up in the school infirmary, and the doctor informs her that she had fainted for no apparent reason. When the doctor inquires about her menstrual cycle, Veronica reveals that she still hasn't gotten her first period. Outside, her sisters are waiting for her, and at this moment, they notice the school's blind headmistress, whom everyone calls Sister Death. She seems to be staring directly at Veronica, as if she can see her. Upon arriving home, Veronica places her backpack, containing the broken Ouija board, on top of the closet. She then exits her room, but soon hears some unusual sounds from the room. When she returns back, she finds her bag on the floor. She puts it back in the closet and leaves, but the same thing happens again. Puzzled, Veronica eventually places her bag under the bed and leaves the room. Afterward, as she is having dinner with her siblings, something very strange happens. Her hand starts to freeze up without her will. Veronica tries to eat a meatball, but she can hardly bring the fork to her mouth. The terrified Irene accidentally spills the milk, and Veronica turns back to her senses, but she doesn't know what just happened. Later, while washing her clothes in the sink, she notices bruises on her shoulders and becomes horrified. The strange occurrences continue to disturb Veronica even at night. As she is bathing Antonito, she suddenly hears a loud bang from her room, which she assumes is from her sisters. But when she hurries to the room, her sisters aren't there. And then all of a sudden, she hears Antonito screaming from the bathroom, and after some struggle, she manages to get out of her room. Veronica quickly takes her brother out of the bathtub and discovers that he's been burned, even though he insists he didn't touch the faucet. Afterward, as she puts ointment on Antonito, she apologizes, saying she shouldn't have made the water so hot, but the little boy says he knows it wasn't her. Before going to sleep, Veronica takes her backpack out from under the bed, and puts it in the closet. Around midnight, she suddenly wakes up to find her closet door opening. Veronica gets up and slowly opens the door, only to find her siblings hiding inside. Suddenly, she hears a male voice calling her name. As she turns around, she notices that it's her naked father, who is approaching her, repeating her name over and over again. Just then, some terrifying burned hands drag her into the bed, and begin to suffocate her. Luckily, she realizes that it was just a nightmare. At school, Veronica tries to begin their paper crumpling routine with Rosa, but the latter seems to avoid her, and instead communicates on the paper ball with Diana. Realizing this, Veronica asks for permission to go to the bathroom. But instead, she heads to the basement, where she retrieves the picture of her father. At this moment, the headmistress, Sister Death, is there, and she asks Veronica what she is holding in her hand. Startled, our girl wonders how she can see, but Sister Death responds that one doesn't need eyes to see everything. She claims that what they have done is very dangerous, so Veronica claims she only wanted to talk to her father. Sister Death then takes a look at a photo of Veronica's father, and immediately senses that it's not her father who responded to the seance, but an evil spirit. She warns that her siblings are in danger and that she must protect them. Holding up her crucifix, she commands the shadows to leave the body that does not belong to them, but her command is not powerful enough. Upon arriving home, Veronica reads an occult magazine to ward off evil spirits. She copies symbols from it, and hangs it in her siblings' room to protect them. Moments later, a downstairs neighbor appears, and complains to Veronica about the noise. She claims that it seems like the ceiling is going to fall due to her dancing, and that a stain is appearing right under Veronica's room, and she asks if there's a water leak. Hearing this, Veronica is speechless. That evening, Veronica is hanging some sheets when she hears her sister's walkie-talkie ringing. She tells them to go to sleep, but suddenly, a low voice tells her to help her siblings because she was the one who summoned the devil. Just then, Veronica sees a figure enter her sister's room, and rushes to check on them. But upon reaching there, she realizes that they are asleep in their bed. And when Veronica tries to leave, she suddenly sees a shadowy figure on the wall, and notices that the protective symbol drawing she hung earlier is burning. A terrifying hand then shows up and starts choking Lucia. When the devil disappears, her sisters assume that Veronica was the one choking her. After the incident, Veronica tells her siblings that there is someone they cannot see, and tells them that they will sleep together. A while later, a noise startles her awake, and she notices a shadow behind the glass of the living room door. However, it turns out to be their mother, who is startled to find mattresses in the living room, so the little girls tell their mom that someone has entered their house. Once the two are alone, Mom tells Veronica not to put strange ideas into her siblings' heads. Veronica argues that the mother is never at home, and she reveals that she accidentally came into contact with a spirit by playing the Ouija board. She just wanted to talk with her father, but Mom doesn't believe in this, and asks her to grow up. The next day, Veronica is awakened by her sisters, who claim to be hungry. To her horror, they suddenly start biting, and eating her arms, while Antonito begins choking her. But the next second, Veronica awakens from her sleep and realizes that it was yet another nightmare. She also notices blood on her bed and clothes, which means that she has gotten her first period. That afternoon, while cleaning her mattress, Veronica turns it over and sees a strange stain underneath, which looks like a burnt mark. She then goes to Antonito's room, where she finds him with a book. She asks him what he's doing, as he doesn't know how to read. However, the boy clarifies that his father comes to him every night and reads to him. Terrified, she tells her brother that if Dad comes again, he should cover his ears and shout her name loudly. She then lifts Antonito's mattress, only to find the burnt mark in the shape of a human. After this, she checks both her sisters' mattresses, and finds the same mark again. Frustrated, Veronica goes to the school basement, where she meets Sister Death and seeks answers from her. The headmistress finally reveals that she intentionally blinded herself in an attempt to stop visions of evil spirits, but this didn't work at all, as she still sees and senses them. Veronica says that the shadows are not afraid of the crosses and the amulets, so Sister Death tells her that God has nothing to do with this. Veronica have to make the spirit leave through the same door it opened, and bid it a proper goodbye this time. Before leaving, she emphasizes that the answer is in the books, and what was done wrong must now be done correctly. Later on, Veronica reads the same occult magazine, and the book explains how to close the session. They must properly say goodbye to the session they have started. The magazine, however, warns that if they do not bid farewell, the evil spirits can linger, and they must try again another time. Following this, Veronica visits Rosa, who is in the middle of a party, and insists that they must do the session again to say goodbye. However, Rosa and Diana refuse, saying this is all nonsense, and our girl is evicted from the venue. It is at this point that Rosa finally reveals what Veronica was whispering in her subconscious state. She actually said that she was going to die in 3 days. Terrified, the poor girl goes to her mother's workplace, and pleads with her to stay home tonight, but Mom claims that she is too busy and suggests they hang out tomorrow instead. An upset Veronica then returns home with her siblings and recalls what Sister Death said. Determined to end it once and for all, she takes out the broken board and puts it back together. She tells her siblings that they are going to play a game, and instructs Antonito to paint the protection symbol she found in the magazine on the walls of the hallway. Later on, the sisters are getting ready for the game, while Antonito starts painting the wall with protection symbols. But he grows tired of drawing the same thing, so he turns the page, and paints the other symbol instead. Shortly after, Veronica and her sisters get ready to play on the Ouija board by placing their fingers on the glass. Veronica then asks if the spirit is with them, and it appears that it is. She tells the spirit that they have gathered to say goodbye to him, but it responds with a firm no. In the magazine, it says that to properly end the session, they must sing a soft song. So, the 4 siblings decide to sing together. However, as they begin to sing, they start to hear strange noises and creaking doors. Veronica insists that they continue despite their fear, but the noises grow louder and louder. Not long after, the door opens and the Ouija board breaks again, and then the glass rolls away. Seeing this, Veronica follows the glass as it rolls into her room. She opens the door, and takes out her flashlight and focuses on the stained mattress. But as she goes near, a hand suddenly emerges from the mattress and grabs her, attempting to pull her in. Veronica somehow manages to break free and run back to her sisters. In a state of panic, she calls the police and claims that someone has broken in, though she cannot specify who. Just then, the burnt spirit snatches her brother and takes him away. Veronica frantically follows Antonito to the bathroom. Because of the adrenaline, she trips and loses her consciousness. When she regains consciousness, she finds her brother safe in the bathtub and carries him. Veronica gathers her sisters, and they decide to leave the house together. They soon reach the exit door of the house, but when Veronica checks the nearby mirror, she realizes that she isn't holding Antonito in her hands. Worried, Veronica asks her sisters to leave first, and goes upstairs to rescue her brother. It turns out that her brother is still in the bathroom, and the shadowy figure suddenly strikes her head. Veronica then grabs a sharp piece of glass, and moves forward cautiously. Moments later, she finds Antonito in the closet, covering his ears and calling out her name for help. She tries to talk to him, but he doesn't respond and doesn't even recognize her. At this point, Veronica recalls how she had asked him to cover his ears in case their dad comes back. With this realization, it finally dawns on her that she has been possessed by the spirit the entire time, and that she has been harming her siblings, under its control. To protect her brother, Veronica grabs the sharp glass and attempts to slash her own throat. However, the demon stops her from killing herself, and instead puts its arm inside her mouth, choking her. Just then, the police officers arrive at the scene, and are shocked to see her being attacked by an invisible force. One officer rushes to pick up Antonito, while another calls for paramedics to attend to Veronica's severe injuries. Outside, the mother awaits Veronica, and cries upon seeing her in a horrifying condition. Upstairs, the chief detective finds a photo frame of Veronica on the floor, but he soon drops it, as it mysteriously burns his hand. Here, the lights suddenly come back on, and the detective then gets word over the radio that Veronica has passed away. We also see the portrait of Veronica, whose face slowly burns away. In the final scene, it is explained that the film is based on real events in Spain, in which an officer was certified to have witnessed paranormal activity. The epilogue reveals that 2 officers had to leave the scene due to nausea, while the chief detective was transferred 2 months later because of the case. Okay guys, that's all the recap of Veronica 2017. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video.